Alright, we're going to show you how to take down and disassemble a Mossberg 500. Same disassembly for a lot of your western fields, some of your coast to coast. Mossberg's made shotguns for a lot of people, and put, their respective names on them. Same procedure goes for whether it's a 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 410, whatever. Let's get started. We'll show you. First thing you gotta do is take the barrel off. Well, first thing, you always make sure it's clean and empty and there's no shells in the chamber or in the magazine tube. The Mossbergs have a retaining bolt that holds your barrel on. If I can do this one-handed, you just simply unscrew that. And it's always easier if you keep the pump slide either halfway or all the way open, and the barrel doesn't want to bind up, and the barrel will just slide right off. It's a lot easier if you're not trying to hold a camera. Finally. Okay. So you have your magazine tube, your pump slide tube that your forearm attaches to. Inside you have your bolt, your lifter, your trigger group. Your shell stops are on the side here. Can't be simpler. You take the barrel off, you have one trigger pin. Some shotguns have two. Your Mossbergs have one. Get a center punch or something to push that pin. Pull it on out. Don't lose it. And literally that one pin holds everything together. And your trigger group will just pop right out. As soon as you pull the trigger group out, your shell stops. They're just kind of sitting there. So you already dropped one on the ground. So these are your shell stops. These are what actually stopped the magazine follower and your pump slide when there's a shell in the chamber. With those removed, you can pull your pump slide forward. It's a lot easier with one hand. You can see where it gets wider, where your rails stop, right there and right there. You just slide the carrier back of your bolt to where it's in that groove, and it'll just slide right out. Your bolt, you just push out the front. So there's your bolt. These are extractors. They're spring loaded. That's what actually grabs the shell and pulls it once it's fired. This is your locking. When your bolt is closed, that springs up and locks your bolt right there, so when you fire it, the bolt doesn't go shooting backwards. It keeps it in place. This here is your ejector. That's what catches the one side of the shell and kicks it out the ejection port. Your safety's here, which moves this block right here. And that's your safety. The elevator will still be in there. All you gotta do there is just squeeze it. Just grab both, one on each side, and pinch, and it'll come right out. These little nubs just fit into these holes. There's no retainers or anything like that. And that's literally it. By removing that one pin, after that's all out, your pump slide will just slide right off to you. So that one pin that holds your trigger group into place, that basically holds your entire shotgun together. This is your carrier. Your bolt sits on top of that, and your pump arms snap into that, and that's what pushes this back and forth to cycle the shotgun. So yeah, maintenance is very easy on these. Cleaning is very easy. You know, you can get in there. This one needs to be cleaned. Get in there with a toothbrush and some gun cleaner and get it all cleaned up. Same with your bolt. There's little springs in your ejectors you want to make sure get clean. The spring inside there you want to get cleaned in there, because that's what, there's your firing pin. You don't want all this to get all gunked up, because that's when you start having issues with either not firing. If your firing pin's not striking hard enough, and that is because it's usually just dirty and gummy in there. So you know, shotguns are easy to maintain. So people that have problems with non-functioning shotguns because they're dirty, it's just, you know, laziness. You know, even if you shoot a few hundred rounds through a shotgun, it doesn't get gummy enough to cause any issues. So, you know, I've cleaned a lot of shotguns in my days, and I have seen some nasty, nasty stuff. And it's just, you know, user neglect. These shotguns will last for, you know, 50 plus years easily with normal maintenance and cleaning. I got shotguns that are, you know, 100 plus years old that still function just fine, and then, you know, it all comes down to how you clean them, and for how easy it is to maintain them. You know, it's not like you're maintaining a jet fighter or anything that's got intricate parts and wiring and everything else. It's a simple rag and a brush. There you go. We'll have some more videos. We'll do a video on how to disassemble your bolt if you ever have to switch out your firing pin, or when you want to really clean the inside. It's not something you have to do a lot. You know, it's something I do maybe once a year on my shotguns. There's a couple retaining pins. There's a pin there that holds it all together. Trigger groups. There are obviously springs, moving parts in there. Don't go through and disassemble your trigger group. There's no need for it unless you have a broken part that has to be. Once you start popping these pins out and stuff, you know, you can get in there with a brush and everything you need to clean it without disassembly. So yeah, I never disassemble my trigger groups unless I'm replacing a spring or something, but that's very, very, very rare.